We got this, guys. We can do this.
Okay, and I'm gonna close
We
this.
got this, guys.
Okay, I'm going to let people in now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're very happy to have you guys here. Welcome to our very first workshop of the 2021-2022 year. We're happy that you could make it to this workshop, and we hope that it can be very informative and helpful for you for your course selection process. My name is Doreen, and I'm one of two event coordinators of Bright Future Dentists. And I'm going to pass it on to my colleague Shadi to introduce the purpose and the goals of the club.
Hello everyone, I'm Shadi. I'm in my fourth year biology at York University this year, and I'm the other events coordinator at BFD Club. I want to briefly introduce the club and the purpose of just making and creating these kind of workshops at the club. This is a student-based club that we're planning to introduce the ways to dentistry path and networking, mentorship, educational and opportunities related to workshops and webinars related to dentistry and pre-dental students especially. In addition to that, we actually want to help students to get insight into the field of dentistry. We plan on creating the space that allow the pre-dental students to make friendships and network with each other. And actually, before I hand the presentation off to the president, Sorme, I wanted to mention some details about the volunteer, and especially for general members. You should actually please make sure to record your own hours before because we're not ready for it yet, but after that we will be recording for you guys, and please, if you want to get like 1 hour of volunteering, we want you to just put 4 posts on your stories and take the screenshots of those posts and tag or mention the page of the Bright Future Dentist and send those screenshots to the page that we can make sure that you guys attended to the webinars and also had the stories for the club. And thank you for coming to the club and to the workshop, and I will hand it off to Sorme, our president.
Hi guys. So just bear with me. This is like my first time working with Zoom, so I'm just trying to figure out how everything's casting on YouTube. So my name is Sorme. I'm in my 4th year of biomedical sciences, 3rd year of biomedical sciences at York. Good thing I remembered my name. So welcome to the club. We're just a new club centered at York, but we really welcome anyone who is interested in dentistry and is a pre-dental, and we want to share our own experiences with you guys to just make life easier, because I personally understand how hard it could and confusing it could be to navigate through all of this. So before we start, we actually just wanted to say, oops, sorry. If you guys are interested in becoming like general members at the club, please make sure to join the first year pre-dental WhatsApp link, and there's a general member WhatsApp link. So the first year one is just mainly to get people to like if they're in first year, special help from our first year representative to like, you know, just help them more one-on-one than the general members link. So just before we start, a disclaimer. All of the information that we're sharing here is just based off our own research, and we highly encourage you to do your own research. So like, don't take our word for everything. Although like we put a lot of time and effort into researching this stuff, you should always do your own research and Another thing to take into account is that all this information changes every year. So you have to make sure to keep up to date, especially with Western University. Like the page keeps growing every year with like all the special requirements they have. So with that, I'm just gonna start. So this is a general overview. And I kind of hope that my Zoom isn't covering the whole slides in the YouTube live, but we're gonna do our best. I don't know. So I split this presentation sort of into 2 steps. The first step, I'm going to explain to you guys how to decide which university you want to go to, because before you start planning your degree in the second step, you need to kind of know which universities you're interested in, because there's a lot of different prerequisites and you can't just take every course. Like it'll just take too much of your time and it's inefficient. So in the first step, you're going to decide basically which university you want to go to, the aspects. So the things to consider are like the aspects, like the factors that are going to make this university more unique and like better for you. And we're going to discuss what those are. The next thing is we're going to discuss where to gather all this information, like where to find the curriculum, the tuition, all this stuff, and the good websites that you can use. And then we're going to give you a head start on your research by presenting to you some Canadian, American, and Australian dental programs that we researched on our own. And not everything is covered in here, obviously, like it's just mostly geared towards course selection. In the second step, we're going to talk about degree prerequisites versus dental prerequisites. So I feel like this was a very big concern for me, not knowing what the difference between just completing your degrees versus taking courses for your dental school requirements. Then we're going to discuss course equivalents for each prerequisite in the different dental schools. And then we're going to include some Western and U of T ones, but I'm going to ask you in a little bit, like if anyone is from U of T. If you are from U of T or Western, can you like quickly put in the chat? So like if no one's really from U of T or Western, we thought we wouldn't discuss it like too in length, but we're still going to go through it for the YouTube live. And in the last step, we're gonna just show you some sample schedules, like my schedule and some other of the students' schedules, just to show you like how to plan it like throughout the years, like what to take first year, what to take second year. Okay, now I'm gonna start. So step 1, deciding where to apply. So you have to tailor your degree to the specific dental schools you want to apply to, like I mentioned. So how do you decide which school you want to go to? So there's some aspects that you need to take into account. And I'm gonna have my, I guess this part I'm discussing myself. So there's like some academic requirements that you need to take into account. So first, GPA requirements. So you know yourself better than anyone, right? So you have to think, okay, am I like gonna really work hard and get a really high GPA? Should I be considering the universities that have the highest GPAs, or like should I just look towards like maybe America or Australia, because maybe you don't trust yourself like me, but like that's something to take into account. Other things is prerequisite course requirements and minimum averages. So you have to see like different universities want different things. Some of them want physics, like American schools want physics and English. Personally, I really don't like English, so like I just don't want to take English, so that I kind of like put universities, American universities aside. So that's something to take into account. Are you willing to take the courses for the prerequisites and meet the minimum averages they require? And also you need to research whether they have they need full course loads and the number of credits you need before they allow you to apply, just to manage your time and see how much time you want to spend in university, you know. So the faster you get to your dental degree, the better. And the faster you graduate from dentistry, the more money you can make in the future, basically. So, and then there's another thing to take into account is additional exams, such as DAT, CASPER, and CARS. Not all universities want CASPER and CARS, and that's up to you if you want to go to a university that requires those exams. And also you need to make sure you're aware that they need it or not, so you can time manage and like see when you're going to take these exams. And also something to take into account, not all universities require the manual dexterity portion of that, and others do. So that's another thing you need to consider when doing that. So Shamim is now going to discuss the other aspects of dental schools with you.
Hi guys, so my name is Shamim. I'm a third year kinesiology and health science student, and I'm our club social media coordinator. So to continue on from what Sorma was saying, that there are a lot of other things that you do need to consider when you're going to be applying to different dental schools. So first one would be Canadian accreditation. So what does that necessarily mean? Basically, that kind of means that is it like a school that's accredited, like how a student that graduates from a Canadian dental school, you guys will kind of be like the same playing field. And that means that you can return home and follow the same process as Canadian domestic students in terms of like licensure and like being granted that. And you would just kind of have to pass your board exam afterwards. So if you go to a university in the United States, they may not necessarily be Canadian accredited. So you can't come back home like to Canada and practice here. You would have to go through a different process. Whereas if you graduated from University of Toronto. Another thing to consider is the length of the program. So we're going to be talking about this more later on, but usually dental schools are 4 years in length, but depending on which type of program you're going to be going to, there's DMD, and there's also programs where you can come which don't require an undergraduate degree. And there's also specialization also, but that is like a later thing. Another thing to consider is the type of curriculum. Do you like the reputation of the school? Do you like how they have their system set up? Do they have a good clinical program? These are all other things that you want to look into to see if that's something that you're interested in and that is important to you. Another thing is tuition costs. Dental school can be very, very, very pricey. And all different schools have different tuition costs for that. University of Toronto is way different than UBC, for example, even though they're both in Canada and you may be still a domestic student applying to both of those. Another thing is graduation statistics. Somebody who graduates from U of T, like how likely are they to be employed afterwards? How likely are they to set up their own practice afterwards? You can look at this with whatever perspective is more important to you. Everybody looks at it differently. But that is one thing that people don't necessarily consider, which is kind of in the same realm of reputation of the school. Another one is the school's mission aligning with your own beliefs. I know many different universities have kind of mission statements and just goals they set out for their students. You should look into it and see if those goals necessarily align with you. You may see that UBC has a different pathway and a different mission than University of Toronto does, or Temple University, etc. There's also another thing, which is when you are at a university or any institution for the matter, they have many different additional opportunities there that are not curriculum related. Sorry guys, my cat's going crazy, but that are different than what you're learning. So you are in dental school, but you may want to get involved in other things there. So that's another thing to look at as well. So Stormer. Okay, yeah, so this is again what Canadian accredited dental programs mean. So it's recognized by the Commission on Dental Accreditation of Canada, and students who graduate from these dental programs can return home and follow the same process as Canadian domestic graduate students in terms of like their licensure and being granted after successfully passing your boards though and your clinical exams. So here we have some resources for you for the Canadian Dental Association, different Australian DMD programs from high school, New Zealand DMD programs, Ireland DMD programs, and you can kind of look into these ones and look at those factors that Storma and I just talked about and kind of consider everything for yourself. Of course, we're going to be helping you out and we want to make sure that you're choosing a dental school that's right for you, because being a pre-dental student is a lot to consider in terms of just what you want out of it in the end. And you need to make sure that you're going on the journey that's right for you. My journey is different from Storma's journey, different from your journey. So yes.
Another thing to mention here, there's just one link. I don't know if I can point out to you, but if you look at the Canadian and American DMD program, the third link, that one isn't Canadian Accredited American Dental Schools. I just put the ADA link for you just so you can look at just American dental schools if you're interested. I just know that it was really difficult for me to personally like find these in Google. I was just so lost and I was like, where do I find research? So I thought it would be an interesting resource for you. And if you're interested, at the end of the presentation, you can wait and ask me about this again, and we can go through each of the websites and I can show you how to navigate them and like where to look and like what are the important key things to look at, so you don't spend all your time looking through this like I did. It took me 2 years like to just figure out what I'm doing. But yeah, so moving on. And as Shami mentioned, these are all like Canadian accredited. So if you study there and you come back, you can just take your board exam like a Canadian student, and then you can be a dentist here if you pass. So now I'm going to start talking about some of the Canadian accredited or just Canadian accredited Canadian dental schools, because they are definitely Canadian accredited. The only ones that we didn't mention are the two French universities, just because like I don't know French, so I didn't really do too much research about them. But here are most of the universities, excuse me. So here we set it up in a very nifty little table for you. There's 2 pages for Canada just because there was a lot and we didn't want it to be too small. So I'll just like quickly go over some key information. So one thing to look at is the class sizes. Like if you see that U of T is 96 people, Western is 56 people, 40 people. When there's a like smaller classes, there's 2 things to consider when you're picking your own like dental school. So if there's smaller classes, that means there'll be more attention on you, like in the classes, but also that means it'll be a lot more competitive to get into the program. If you look at the GPA requirements, and then we're going to be talking about the American ones later, so take into account this GPA. So the Canadian ones want a really high GPA. One thing is because the tuition here is really low, so everyone really wants to come to Canada to study. So the GPA requirements here are really high. So you just have to make sure that the dental school that you're picking has high GPA, so you have to keep on your GPA too. Another thing is different universities you can apply to after completing different amounts of your bachelor. So U of T, you can apply after 3rd year. You need to have completed 15 full year courses, so 90 credits. That means you have to take 5 courses every semester for 3 years, and then you can apply. But also if you apply, you can apply after you get your full bachelor's too. If you get your full bachelor's, then they consider, I think, your top 3 years for your GPA or things like that. Western, for example, requires you to complete your bachelor's, same thing with McGill. And for Dalhousie, you can apply after 2 years, which is interesting. I discovered this upon making this presentation myself. The prerequisite courses are really what you need to focus on because we're going to be discussing this later. So I just kind of like color coded it for you so you guys can follow it better. This is just to show you that like which courses are generally required throughout like all the university's choices. So that you just have a better idea like what courses are like mostly important to take, just so you can like have your options open. Don't leave any doors closed for yourself. And we'll talk about this after. We're going to tell you the course equivalents. And these are some of the exams that you need to know. For example, U of T, something to take into consideration is this year, they literally just put out that you need to have the manual dexterity section of the DAT. Also, if you want to apply for the 2022 cycle. So if you're applying in 2021, you're fine. Use your DAT score, but for 2022, you need to make sure you take the manual dexterity portion, which is like you carve stuff into soap. Other exams they need is like Casper, that aligns with McGill too, but Western and Dalhousie only want that. And another thing is, I didn't know this myself, but most of the Canadian universities actually accept the American DAT. But the only thing is that like American DAT has chemistry and quantitative reasoning sections, but that's why people don't want to take it. But I personally prefer to take that one because I just want all my options like covered. And I feel like the chemistry section will give me better marks. So I don't know. I don't know about you guys. It depends on you. In the next one, these are UBC Alberta and Saskatchewan. The most important thing to notice about them is that I put like 6 out of 60, 3 out of 30, things like that. That's because they only accept 6 people from outside of BC. Like they mostly accept local students. That's something to take into account when you're applying. So even though the GPA requirements are, why did I put 70 here? Sorry about that. I made a mistake in the presentation, but so the GPA requirements are kind of lower, but that it just like, it's because they accept local students. And something else I want to know about Canadian universities. Oh, so they don't actually all require to have shadowing hours, even though UBC wants you to have shadowing hours. But a lot of American schools, as Hamza is going to talk about, will require you to have shadowing hours. Another thing is, most Canadian universities, except Manitoba and Saskatchewan, don't require physics, and not all of them require English. That's another thing I want to mention, but we'll send you this presentation after and you can kind of look through it yourself. So now Hamza is going to come and talk about the American accredited dental schools.
Hey guys, my name is Hamza. So I'm a fourth year biomedical student. And so, yeah, and then I'm also your content creator for this club. So yeah, now we're going to talk about American dental schools. So one thing to notice about American dental schools is that they're going to take a more holistic approach to looking at your application. So what that means is your GPAs for these, you're going to notice are going to be a little bit lower, but that's because they're going to be looking more at your extracurriculars and any shadowing, any research you've done. So, you know, if you have a lower GPA, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get in. You know, you could just definitely pad up your resume with other stuff, and then you could definitely still have a very good chance of getting into these. So we chose 5 of the main American dental schools that we thought were probably best representative. So what you're going to notice is that a lot of them are going to be private schools. So that's usually where Canadians have their best bet. And that's because private schools don't have quotas to fulfill. So they don't have any preference with in-state, out-of-state, or international students. And you're also going to notice that their class sizes are quite a bit larger than Canadians. And yeah, so we chose NYU, Detroit, Temple, Tufts, and Boston because they usually have the largest class sizes and they accept the most amount of Canadians. So that's kind of just our reasoning why we chose these 5. I mean, there's 56 other that are Canadian accredited, but again, Canadian accredited doesn't really mean that they're Canadian friendly. So Canadian friendly means that if they're actually open to accepting Canadian applicants. So a good way to tell if universities like will actually take Canadian applicants is to look at if they accept a Canadian DAT. And if they do that, then there's a good chance of looking at of being accepted there. So there's 68 dental schools in America, 56 are accredited, but your best bet is definitely private schools. But private schools also have a premium for their tuition cost. And I think NYU's, the most expensive in all of America. And I think it ranges around like $150,000 if you convert it to Canadian just for the tuition. So for NYU, you're going to notice that their GPA is a 3.5 and their class size is 360 people. And then you can apply in your 3rd year after completing 15 full year courses or 90 credits. You need your general chemistry.
Caution tape on the other.
Okay, you're going to need general chem, organic chem, biology, and English and physics. Like Swami said, English and physics is definitely something that you should be taking if you're thinking of applying to American DMT programs, because they definitely look at it more than Canadian. Also, because they take a more holistic approach for analyzing your applications, you should definitely, even for Canadian universities, you should be considering shadowing hours. And so for NYU, you need 100 hours of shadowing minimum. To be considered. For Detroit, you need 60. Temple doesn't require any, but again, it's still like very recommended to take any kind of shadowing or have any kind of experience in the dental field. For Tufts, you need 75 hours of shadowing, and for Boston, shadowing just recommended. And so for Detroit, your class size is going to be 144, and your GPA is going to be 3.65, which is around an 89% average. And you can apply after finishing your prerequisites, which is probably going to be in your 3rd year. Your general chemistry, you can need general chem. So you're going to notice that you can need general chem for all of them, organic chem for all of them. Biochem, you need for most except for NYU and Temple. Microbiology. For Tufts, you need upper year bio, which is for a York student, that's any bio that's in either 3rd or 4th year that can fulfill that. And then you need 2 semesters of English. And so that's any English course that has extensive writing. So you're going to be writing a lot of essays. I know, I mean, I wasn't really into that, but to fulfill the requirement, you kind of need that. And for Tufts, you need humanities and social sciences. And so we're going to have some recommendations and some things at the end for York students and Western. And yeah, and so some of them, so for Boston, it also requires a Casper and a Casper test, and I think that covers it.
Thank you, Hamza. I'm just struggling to unmute myself. So I'm just going to go briefly over some Australian dental schools just because I would have really appreciated to know about this in my first year. I was looking for a lot, but I really couldn't find the right place to find the information. So I thought I would just share with you guys really quickly, although I didn't look too much into like the prerequisites and stuff. So Australia DMD programs actually offer 2 types of programs. There's a undergraduate entry dentistry degree and there's a graduate entry dentistry degree. The graduate one is 4 years and it requires you to take the DAT, and like after you finish your bachelor's, then you can just apply to this one, and the GPA requirements are pretty low, like this is 2.7 out of 4. And Australia is a pretty cool place. So I mean, I would really just love to escape Canada and just go and like explore. And it's just like a nice weather and things like that. And also the programs are really nice. There's a lot of like, I know for JCU, James Cook University, they have a lot of Indigenous involvement. And I think it was really nice to like get involved with the Indigenous community because I've taken a lot of history courses and taken interest in that. So the other thing, that the one that I really would have appreciated to know about was the 5-year program that you could apply to from high school. So you can apply either with your high school grades or in the middle of your bachelor's or even after you've graduated from your bachelor's with those grades. The thing is that it's, the only thing about Australian dental schools is that like tuition is really expensive. But honestly, the currency exchange is lower than like American, and the living cost there is a little bit less. So in the long run, or like at the end of the day, you're gonna be saving more money, but just giving more to the university, if that makes any sense. But yeah, like if you're ever interested in like Australian programs, definitely check out Austrec because they're really helpful and they'll tell you about like all the prerequisites and like just the whole process, and it's completely free. Like they help you with the application process completely free of charge. All you need to do is provide your transcripts. So second step, here we are, the course planning section. Woo, finally we made it. So how should you be planning your degree? So there's things to consider, like there's your degree requirements and your dental prerequisites, right? And Shami, were you supposed to talk about this or should I go?
I don't mind talking about it if you want to take a break.
Yeah, you can go ahead, yeah.
Okay, guys, so basically there's degree requirements, which is the program that you're in. I'm assuming most of you are going to be going into or are already in an undergraduate degree program, and it's going to be versus the dental requirements, which they require from you when you're going to be applying to dental school. So what is your degree? So your degree could be biomedical science, biology, kinesiology, psychology, business, honestly, anything, because with dental schools, they don't require a specific undergraduate degree for you. You can be in any program. They truly don't care or discriminate against any of it. And you can be in any different bachelor types. So there's Bachelor of Sciences, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Commerce. And there's also discrepancies between like Bachelor of Sciences and Bachelor of Arts as well. So if you specifically, let's say, go to York University and you're in kinesiology and health sciences like I am, you have the option of either being in Bachelor of Sciences or Bachelor of Arts. And with that, there's also an honors program and a specialized program. So I'll get into this in a second, but yeah, just reiterating it all, it truly doesn't matter what your degree is, because at the end of the day, you will be having to fulfill dental school prerequisites with that. So For example, if you are in an honors program or a specialized honors program, that basically means that you're going to be taking more courses for your major in order to be kind of more educated in it, I guess, is kind of like the simplest way of explaining it, which helped me understand that. At York University, if you're in kinesiology and specialized honors, that just means you're taking more kinesiology related courses for your program. So this is something to consider because it will take you longer to finish your degree. It's going to cost you more money because you're taking more courses. And you do want to, at the end of the day, be able to balance your degree in a way that you can fulfill both your degree requirements and the dental school prerequisites. So make sure you are taking the appropriate courses on time with what you need for dental schools, and kind of reconsider if that bachelor degree that you're in is right for you. Is it asking you too much? Is it too demanding? Is it too hard for you to get a good GPA in? These are all factors to be considering. What are your desired dental schools? So are you going to be applying to all Canadian? Are you going to be applying internationally? You need to decide what university suits for you, because financially and curriculum and location, these are all factors, like we said before, to consider, and it's going to take into account with your process of taking those prerequisite courses. So like I said before, if you're in, let's say, the specialized honors program for kinesiology and health sciences, most likely what a lot of students do is take an additional 5th year of university, which takes them more time and more money in order to be able to finish their degree program. Now, let's say you're a pre-dental student. Just based on your pace of how you want to go through it, you may take even longer, just based on if you do summer school or if you're consistently taking a full course load, if you don't repeat courses. These are all things that you want to try to take into account. We will later on be showing you sample schedules for 2 different degree programs, but if you have any other questions about this, you can ask us again at the end of the presentation, and I can clear up any confusion that you guys have.
Guys, just some things to mention here. Like Ryan said in the chat, there's actually some universities that will, I don't know, maybe I'm not done enough research about this, but I've heard that it's not like they require you to take a special bachelor's, but they do consider the bachelor that you do take. So like, I think it was Ireland, and I'm not sure, in another university, if you take an easy bachelor, they'll consider it. Like, they'll be like, oh, so this person took an easy bachelor and got a good GPA. But so they'll take a person that took a harder bachelor over that person when it becomes like to the competition point. So that's something to take into account. But honestly, like my personal belief is that you shouldn't take like a really difficult bachelor, because you'll just ruin your GPA. You won't have time to like explore outside of school and like gain experience in the like kind of like on your own. You'll be spending a lot of time studying. So that's just like my point of view. But honestly, I'm not taking like super easy bachelor anyways, like biomedical sciences. Like no one can say biomed is easy like in any university, but it's just like knowing your own limits and like kind of not burning yourself out. But the major thing here is, yeah, okay, we'll just move on.
Yeah, it's just like Sorma said, consider it. Like the program that you're in is going to be the main thing you're focusing on. As much as I thought I'm going to be a pre-dental student, I didn't take into account how demanding kinesiology can be and how many courses I would have to take. Yeah, there are some of them that are accepted by dental schools, like for example, anatomy, physiology, and partial of my science credits that I took for pre-dental, but still there's so many other outside requirements and differences between BSc and BA. BA, you have more options, for example, for taking different electives, but still that's something to take into account. And of course, talk to your academic advisor for whatever your program that you're going in to kind of clearly understand it. I took a lot of sessions with my own academic advisor to understand my degree, and I ended up deciding to stay in it, but there was a point where I did want to switch into a different degree program. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, and another thing is that also all these prerequisite courses for that aren't part of your degree and are just part of your dental prerequisites, you can kind of like, I don't know, I personally just like don't want to risk it, but I know that you can take it outside in another university or college just to qualify to have the credits and get like a better mark and Shami knows about this. Go.
Yes, right. Be careful about that. So I did try to take a physiology course at a different university institution, but then I went and I checked the rules. And at York, I couldn't do that because physiology was one of my major requirements for kinesiology. And you can't take a course at a different institution that's required by your major. So you can kind of like do that. I know a lot of students who take summer school courses at Western because they're not offered at York during the summertime. But of course, again, talk to your academic advisor.
Yeah. And ask your questions at the end of this presentation. Sorry I didn't mention it, but we can stay as long as you want. That's all the questions you have. So next, so what courses should you take? Knowing all of this, taking all this into account. So we just have some like, oops. What did I do? The York one is gone, guys. I think I deleted it. That's funny. Okay, well, maybe if I undo it. That's funny. I don't know how come those got deleted. Good thing I undid it. Okay, so here's the York prerequisites. So there is I just put all the different universities prerequisites into this thing, like this page, and then suggested the York equivalent courses to get like the maximum number of credits that any university wanted, if that makes sense. So like not all the universities wanted 6 credits of biochemistry, but some of them did. So I just suggested the 2 courses you need to take to get like full 6 credits. But like you can just obviously just take one of them, or like however you like to take it. So I don't know if you want me to go through it, but the only things, I mean, you can look this after. The only things is for the physiology one, I gave you 2 methods to do it. So there's the first method of doing it, like doing animal physiology at York. And like this one just gives you like 8 credits at the end of it. But I personally didn't want to take this because I didn't want to take animals in second year. I prefer to take statistics. And why I took like in my degree, you can either take statistics or animal physiology. I took statistics because that's going to help me in dental school, because I need to know statistics. And honestly, it wasn't a terribly hard course. You just need to study for it, obviously, just like any other course. But at the end of the day, it's really beneficial for you to know it. And I'm going to be doing the second method, the kinesiology ones. Even though it's not part of my, it doesn't count towards my degree requirements, it counts towards my dental prerequisite requirements. So I'm taking the kinesiology, human physiology 1 and 2. And here we suggested a bunch of English courses for you, but for the sake of time, like we'll move on. But if you want to know about them, we can definitely come back to the slide and discuss with you, because each of us has taken like a different one of these. And we thought these were really good English courses to take at York, because we were lost when we wanted to take it. So we thought we should suggest them for you. Next is Western, and I'll have Amayakun quickly go over this slide for you guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Amaya Kuhn, and just quickly going over the Western credits. It's pretty straightforward if you join Western as a med-sci student, because there are specific biology and chemistry first year courses that you can take. But speaking in a general degree, you could take any degree and still complete all these courses. So generally, there's a general chemistry and biology course that you can take if you're taking any degree. But then if you're going to Western with a med-sci career path, then there's a specific biology and chemistry that you should take. But generally, this is the courses that you should take if you want to fulfill these requirements. There are many options for the arts and humanities and for the English credits. They offer a wide variety, but these were the basics that I put down. For biochemistry, there's one specific one that only gives you 3 credits. And then to get that 6 credits, you could take any other 3rd year or 4th year biochemistry course. But these are just general courses that you can take to fulfill these requirements for the dental schools. That is all.
Thank you, Maikun. So next we have like a slide about U of T, and my friend Shreya from U of T actually helped like very last minute with this, and I'm like really thankful for that. I don't think anyone is here from U of T, but if she could like just quickly go over them, just like outline like how it works, just in case anyone at the YouTube live later watches this.
Yeah, so I hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, so I'm currently in my third year at U of T in the Life Sciences program. And so on the screen, you can see a few choices that would fulfill either of these categories. And I basically put the very basic courses that would fulfill these. So you don't have to have very many prereqs, or maybe just like first year bio to do the biochemistry and the physiology, just things like that. Again, through U of T, regardless of your degree, you can choose your electives, maybe third and fourth year, to complete these if you're not in the life sciences program. However, if you are in life sciences, you will most likely complete almost all of these. And then if you know you want to go into dentistry, regardless of when you decide, then you can always just fit them into your sort of elective spaces. And again, I think I agree a lot with Shamim and Sormeh when they said that the academic counselors, your academic guidance counselors, are very, very important, especially if you're not in life sciences and you kind of decide, I want to go into dentistry, and you're like, I have all of these prereqs to fulfill. What do I do? Speak to them, because they have definitely seen way more students in these situations and they can definitely guide you. Same thing with if you are choosing a sort of specialization to go into after first year in your life sciences degree, and you kind of want to see what would be maybe easiest for you or most suitable for you if you want to just get these kind of bare minimum credits done and then choose slightly easier courses as well.
Thanks so much, Shreya. So,
Thank you so much. Sorry, can I mention something real quick?
yes.
Okay, so one thing with these courses is that, so like, I'm not sure exactly like what university everybody that's here is from, right? But speaking to my other pre-dental friends, specifically one of them that goes to UBC, she said that when it comes to the pre-dental requirements, of course, different with each school, she realized that some of the requirements that her major had qualified for certain things. Like, for example, you know how it's like most dental schools say they want 6 credits of physics, but she learned that she could take a 3-credit physics and a 3-credit calculus that UBC was offering, and that would satisfy the requirement. So one thing that really helps is messaging these schools specifically. If you see that the course descriptions are really similar, you can email the school and ask them if that course would be equivalent as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We gave you some suggestions here so that you can look into it, and it could make your search for courses a lot easier, but that's another thing that you can look into after for yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with what she's saying, because just reach out to the dental schools you're interested in as well to clarify anything. Like, don't guess anything, don't leave anything up to chance. Just ask them, no matter how silly you might think it is. They've probably seen the question before. They'll be able to help you, and they're actually very, very friendly. In a lot of cases, if they can't really help you over email, or if you ask them, they can set up meetings where you can speak to them over Zoom. So please just don't be afraid to reach out. It is your application, it's your admission into dentist school that's on the line. So just try to make sure that you do everything so that nothing is left to chance, and to try to guarantee your application goes well.
Yeah, I agree too. Like, this is just us kind of briefly introducing you to this and not giving you an outline to go off of. Like, this is not the final formula. Like, you need to do your own research, keep ask your own questions, double check. It's always just like, we're just trying to like introduce you to it, because I know as a first year I was just completely lost. It's like, what am I even doing at all? So yeah, that's basically it. I don't know, something like this. Okay, so here, this is the degree roadmap. So I made a little degree roadmap of like basically when you should take each of your courses, because for example, I know my friend Shamim, like she was presenting right now, she ran into this problem. So like the biology and general chemistry courses are usually prerequisites for biochemistry, organic chemistry, or like microbiology that you need to take their upper year courses and the biology and chemistry are prerequisite for these. So you need to take these like first year. I arranged it in like, I hope it makes sense. Like I made it like September to January and then January to April. So it's a semester 1 of first year, semester 2 of first year. So if you take like Bio 1000, Bio 1001, then Chem 1000, Chem 1001, you will be done your general chemistry and general biology requirements. And then you'll be able to move on to taking biochemistry, organic chemistry in your second year. And then, for example, for York, microbiology is offered in third year. And I think you need I'm not sure again, but I think you need biochemistry or organic chemistry as a prerequisite. Or even it'll just help, because you'll just be like lost in the concepts, like you haven't learned it. And again, I put statistics here because I highly suggest you take this because you're going to encounter this in dental school and in your career, and you're going to need to know how to read graphs and like what chi-squared is. You need to have practice with this because it'll just be like really difficult for you if you don't know these like basic concepts of statistics. Physiology, I put it kind of like second year, third year, because you have to take some parts in second year, some parts in third year based on like which method you use. And then nutrition, it is a fourth year course in York, but I put it in the third year because if you want to like apply in third year or something, you can still take upper year courses earlier. Although take into account, like you don't want to push yourself too far, but like if you want to like be done quickly, just like, you can finish it more quickly. And then in fourth year, you can just like complete any degree requirements or dental school requirements, and then like be super like good to go. I didn't add physics, English, and humanities in this because honestly, you can just take it whenever. You can take a first year course in second year, third year, fourth year. But just make sure that you don't take like a bunch of first year courses in your fourth year because like that'll look really suspicious. And it's like not even allowed to take more than four courses per year. That is not like of your year. So like if you're in fourth year, you can't take like more than 4 courses that are like second year, third year, or like first year. So that's something to take into account too. And here we are with the sample schedule. So guys, this is my schedule from first year. This is not for you to copy, okay? Like, please don't literally go and like put these courses in your schedule. This is just a guide for you to see like how I took my courses and then like how it kind of just like led to my future courses. So I guess like, I don't know why this one is math 1013, but some of the course codes are a little bit kind of messy. But for example, for my degree requirements, I needed to complete a math course. So I completed, it actually was like, I think math 1015, something like that. So I will fix this after, but.
You did math 1505.
1505, yeah, sorry, I don't remember the course code, but yeah, it was, you have to take math. You need this math to take statistics in second year. So I took it like in first semester and second semester as a full year course. Oh, I think she changed it. Okay, yeah. Okay, Helia changed this because now it's actually in 2 different sections. Like it's like a first semester and a second semester one because it gets like super hard in the middle and you kind of just want to give up and drop it. Because like sometimes your GPA gets so messed up. I wish I could have dropped it and then taken it again in the summer, but I was like, no, push through. And then actually in the end of the year, it worked out. And then I took chemistry. Like chemistry has a lab. So like this is the lab, biology 1000. I took econ. That's something I always suggest to people to take econ just because I really liked it. I know a lot of people have bad experience with this course, but I personally like it because I absolutely hate writing essays. So this is a very like straightforward. If you study, you get your mark. And that's the courses I like. Study, get your mark. Not like write an essay and then the teacher judges it and like if they like it or not. Sorry, someone is just not muted. Here we go. Yeah, so this is what I took. What else did I take? Oh, computer sciences is needed for biomed. Make sure to take that, guys. Computer science, even though it's a really difficult course at York, you need to take it to be on track. And I took psychology in my first year just because I want to get that over with. At York, I know you can either take psychology or physics instead, just to like get either or done. in your first year. So I suggest you take one 6-credit course in your first year, just to like be like really good, like kickstart off your degree and not be behind. So either psych or physics you should switch between. And in your second year, I took, I don't know what this is. Oh, I think this is an elective. Yeah, but I took like a lab course this year, Chem 2020, which is organic chemistry. This is Bio 2060, statistics, genetics. I took genetics because in my upper year courses for biomed, I need genetics to qualify. Sorry, I'm not checking the chat, but
It's okay. I'm replying to everyone who's
okay,
messaging.
Shamim's got it. Good. And then Chem 2021 is for like the second part of organic chemistry. Something to take into account with organic chemistry is that it's a very demanding course. It takes a lot of your time because there's a lot of extra tutorials and there's like tests every other week, at least for me. So just make sure like the courses you choose kind of like balance out your schedule. Like genetics was a less demanding course and I'm personally just better at biology courses. So like I feel like it was a really good balance between like genetics, which is like low key, statistics was just like math homework, which is like you can just do it quickly. But chemistry was a lot of like dedication and like studying and going to tutorial, going to lecture, review, textbook readings. And then this is biochemistry. This is my most like, it's like the hardest course for me. But just like you just have to make sure to do textbook readings. That's all I have to recommend for you. And then, yeah, you could take your electives here. I know some of my friends took English. I took a Persian literature course just because I thought it would be fun. And then, yeah, second semester is kind of just like the continuation. It's like the second part to my first semester, except the fact that I took a lab course, which is a requirement for biomed. And this is just the first and second year outline. The third year one is more just like based on like your own degree requirements. And you just kind of in third and fourth year, if you want to take the dental prerequisites, you just kind of like split it between third and fourth year. You know what I mean? Like just to like finish it up. It's kind of just like a time to finish it up. And it's more focused on finishing your degree and meeting your degree requirements than anything. And then, so this is the kinesiology one, and I think Shamim or Helia will talk about it.
I can talk about it if Helia doesn't want to. This is Helia's schedule. So one thing I did want to mention before I get into this. So the biomed schedule that you saw before, this kinesiology one and another kinesiology one with probably another biomed one, and hopefully a biology major and psych major and neuroscience major maybe. We will have sample schedules of from our team also uploaded in a document. We're going to be making a post about this later on soon. But again, these are just our own team's experiences with these majors and the courses that we're going to be taking for pre-dental. It's not like necessarily, we have recommendations from our academic advisors and stuff, but this is something to go over with your own academic advisor. I know for a fact that kinesiology requirements have changed for this coming academic year. So that's one thing to note as well. So if you're in kinesiology and health sciences, you're going to be taking Kin 1000, Kin 1020. Those are just the general ones that each Kin student has to take. But then you also have your options. So Kin has a lot of requirements and a lot of them are first year requirements. So you can choose when you want to do them. But of course, like Sorma said before, be mindful of the upper year courses that you're going to be taking because a lot of them are prerequisites for it. So with your Kin, they only need 1 full year of sciences for you. But with dental requirements, you're going to be taking a full year of bio, a full year of chem, and maybe a full year of physics. You're going to be having way more than you even need for the major. So that's one thing, like how I was saying before, you may take longer to finish your degree because not everything will be covered by your major requirements. You also need to take a math in kinesiology. So that's your choice of 1505 or 1013, 1014. So I was talking to somebody in the chat. They said that they took 1013, 1014. So it's honestly your own preference of how you want to do it. I was told 1013, 1014 is a lot more difficult, and I wasn't necessarily comfortable with that. So I took 1505. And one thing that's different from my schedule than Helia's schedule is I actually took some not lower level, they're still both 1000 levels, but I actually took 2 other math courses prior to math 1505 to kind of prepare me for it. I took math 1510 and I took math 1520, and those courses really helped me get like an even stronger foundation in math and calculus, so that when I do take 1505, which I'm taking actually right now during the summer, it's not as difficult and straining on me. Of course, with the bio and chem, you need to have a lab with that. And Helia took an elective, which is Motor 1730, and that's a 6-credit course that counted towards one of her general education requirements. So the year that Helia and I joined kinesiology, they require you to take 3 general education requirements, and they're each 6 credits long. But for this current year, that has changed. You only need 2 general education requirements, a humanities and a sociology or social science, one of those, sorry, that you need. So talk to your academic advisor about that to see which category you fall into. I heard that, maybe don't take my exact word on this, that you can even message your faculty or your department for your program, and you can talk about them. If you do have the restriction on you that you need 3 general eds, you can talk to them about having only 2, since now the academic program has changed. And in her second semester, it's pretty much the exact same thing, because she just took the second bio and the second chem to finish up her full year. You also will need a computer science for almost any BSc program at York. So that's one thing to note, whether you want to take it in your first year or second year. I took it in my second year. And yeah, that's as much as I can remember now. But if you have any more questions about this, we are going to be making another post for it. And you can always DM us and we can arrange to answer your questions at any time. But yeah, this is for second year. So yeah, Helia, she took math 1013, 1014, and then she took organic chemistry and the semester 1 and semester 2. And she also took KIN 2050, which is required by you, and KIN 2049. Those are both requirements. And she took biochemistry as well in the first semester, but I believe she didn't take cell biology in second semester. So the way I have my schedule set up is I'm actually taking all my organic chems and biochems this coming year, because I ran into the problem of not finishing my full year chemistry requirement within my first year. I actually took Chem 1001 in second year. So I wasn't eligible to take organic chemistry or biochemistry during my second year. I had to wait until my Chem 1000 was over with so that I can take it this coming year. You can always take some of these courses over the summertime, but you have to see what's being offered. I know this past summer, they didn't offer anatomy in summer, but last summer they did. So that's one thing to note.
Yeah, and I guess, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, so we're gonna be posting, we made actually like a link cluster with all the links for researching about dental school, resources at York regarding like where to find courses, where to contact academic advising, like everything you need, how to like other resources like career center and stuff. I always am so like telling everyone, go to the career center because they help you so much with like finding extracurricular activities, not just like academically, but also academic. Like they know the resources at York, so they can like send you to the right places. And we're gonna post about those links really soon. We're probably gonna put it in our link tree so you guys can like easily like just click on it and like look for them. Yeah, but like keep an eye out. I think we're gonna post that like pretty soon because it's ready. It's just yeah, we just have to make a nice post, you know. Always aesthetics is important. And just for the sake of time, like
yeah, so I think we're going to be posting it by this Sunday actually, kind of like the thing letting you guys know that we're going to be having a resources page, and we'll link the document in our link tree. So like Sorma said, it's going to have everything of where you need to find things to answer your questions, and also we'll have more sample schedules with also third and fourth year as well. Because personally, like our team, we have a lot of advice that we think could be useful to you to share with you, that can save you a lot of stress that we went through. And like Sorma said, save you the stress of finding where these resources actually are. I remember literally this one time, Sorma and I were in bio class together, and she had to show me where to find the career center because I had no idea how to get it or book an appointment. So
Yeah, you didn't even know where it was. You're like,
I
what is
didn't even know it
that?
existed, to be honest.
I didn't know either. I kind of just happened upon it. I don't know how, like, I don't even know. I just kind of went in and I saw it and was like, hey, let's go see what this is. Oh, I
Yeah.
think I want to get my resume fixed up because I was applying for a research position or something, and my resume was like so bad. And I was like, hey guys, can you fix this for me? And they're like, oh, like, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? And then like that's how I got them involved in the career center.
Yeah, there's like a lot of good things at York. Of course, like you're gonna find it as useful as it will be for you. Like the Career Center wasn't too useful for me. I booked a session with them and it just helped me understand what I don't want to do in life. Not really help me what I find. But yeah, just you guys can see the full link once it's posted. As long as you're following our Instagram, you'll be notified. I recommend you turn on just post notifications. We only post about like 3 times a week, so it wouldn't necessarily be blowing up your phone a lot either. So yeah.
Oops. Oh yeah, okay. So this is the part where you guys can ask all your questions and we can go through anything you guys want to. Again, please feel free to like unmute yourself. But can you raise your hand so I can like be the boss or whatever, like like tell you if you can talk. If you guys do have any questions. I know there were some questions like about the Australian one. Somebody privately messaged me about it. Let me go back. All the way back to this Australian. Yeah. So this one I put no minimum GPA because University of Melbourne, you don't need to have a specific GPA in order to apply. It depends on the level of competition for that year. Like, usually people don't really want to like pay a lot of money for tuition to like get into dental school, so they don't apply unless they really have to, like with lower GPAs. But I just like Australia, so I was just like, hey, let's go. So yeah, you don't need a minimum GPA to apply here. Either way, like you can for some, I don't know, like specific universities, like Western has a cutoff. Like they won't look at your GPA, like they won't look at your application if you don't have a 3.8. So that's something you should look into too. If you like, you could just apply with a relatively good GPA, and then based on that year's competition level, they might consider your application. So it's not hopeless for you. So is there any group chat questions that I should know about?
So there aren't currently any group chat questions. The only one that Ishwa has asked is if any of us are in honors BSc. So
yeah, Ishwa, actually I am in it. I don't know about Hamza, but I'm in the honors program. The only thing I think to consider about that is like, I think the only difference between BSc and honors is like you need a different GPA, like minimum GPA to be qualified to like graduate with an honors or a BSc. There aren't any like extra courses. I know for the BSc program, you have to have a 4.0 GPA. So that's a C. Yeah, a C. And then out of a 9-point scale, sorry, not a 4-point scale, because York is on a 9-point scale. And then to graduate from an honors BSc program, you need to have a 5.0 out of 9, which is a C+ average.
So
is anyone here in psych? Oh, actually, our outreach coordinator was in psych, and we wanted her to like produce her schedule or like get to know about that. But I think we'll have her do it soon. It's just I think she's on a trip to like in Iran, so it's really hard for her to get a good internet connection and like send it and download it and everything. So we'll have that on the link tree soon, because that's a common major that people go to dentistry from. You guys have any other questions? Yeah, we will definitely have, we're gonna be trying to add to this information as we go along. Honestly, like I made this presentation based on like my like research, and like Hamza and Sasha were so much help in like doing their own research. I didn't know a lot about American schools. I did mostly like Canadian and Australian information. So yeah, like we're gonna be continuing to add to this information. And yeah, but do you guys have, like, even if you don't have any questions about the presentation, you can ask questions about our club and like how you can get involved, or any events we're gonna have, and suggest any events that you want us to have. Are dental schools okay with online lab portions? Okay, that one's a little bit of a complicated answer. I know most universities are fine with it. Western, however, is a bit confusing with that. Like they say like they accept pass-fail courses, but they don't care that it's online. Like that, I honestly wouldn't be able to answer you really well. I just think you should read about the COVID requirements. Like they're still pretty vague right now, but they're adding to it as we go along. I don't know if
A lot of universities changed it, so they're allowing for, I think the last academic year they're allowed online labs, but I think in the future I think they want you to do in-person labs. But again, yeah, check for yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely just email like the schools that you want to get into the most. I know it's like really overwhelming, and honestly, if you guys really want, we can help you guys create templates of like these emails too. If that's a resource that you're really looking for, we can add that in soon. But yeah, that's another thing. Okay, I just want to go back because we skipped a question. So someone asked, when should a pre-dental student take their DAT? And thank you for Mohammed for giving your suggestion that people usually take it after the 3rd year. So yeah, that's true. A lot of the times, like depending on which DAT you're taking, Canadian or American, you have to see what suits you based on what type of student you are and where you're applying to. Earlier in the chat, someone mentioned that some international students should only take the American dental aptitude test, but of course, you need to check what would make you as a qualifying candidate based on the DAT that you're taking. I know some people that do it in 2nd year, they get on really early with it just because they want to see how it is and have a trial run and then retake it again later. But some people take it after 3rd year so that they've already completed organic chemistry, biochemistry, if they're taking the American one, since those topics are covered into it.
Yeah, I think Shamim, I think I'll just stop the YouTube live now, and then if people still have questions, they can keep asking, and we'll just promote about our event after everything's done, if that's okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Let me just stop sharing for a second. And